All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2021 IndyCar iRacing series here on VirtualRacing.Network. If it's afternoon for you, joining us around the world or out here on the west coast of the United States, it's morning. It's a pleasure to have you joining us here on VirtualRacing.Network for our inaugural season coverage of this 2021 IndyCar iRacing series. So this is round two. Race 2 here from Sebring, Florida, the virtual Sebring, Florida, as we take a look at Eric Winter, who's on track and has one lap to go, is currently being shown. He doesn't have a time in yet. I believe he made a mistake on his first lap, and now we're starting to see some of the front runners putting in a qualifying lap, with Henry Bennett putting in his first lap at a 1:39.45. So that puts him up at the top of the leaderboard. And just as I say that, Timothy Bauman takes the pole position tentatively with a 1:38.90. He did have an off track, so I believe that is going to disqualify either that first lap or potentially the second lap. We'll have to see about that. As we stay here with Henry Bennett, who's putting in his second lap, we'll see if he can improve. Also on track, we have João Valverde, who has been quite quick. He's third place right now with a 1:39.59, putting in his fastest time. And now Adam Crane we move on board with, as he has just put in the quickest time, a 1:38.32. So last week we saw some exciting action for the first round. Qualifying was a pretty good indicator of who was going to be the quickest, although not for David Toth, who we'll talk about in a minute, but was a race hard charger last week and really made up a lot of positions in the race. So as more drivers putting in times, we've got Adam Crane, Timothy Bauman, Philip Kraus, Mark Usher, and Henry Bennett. Now your top five. Henry Bennett is done. Mark Usher is done. Philip Kraus and Adam Crane putting in their last laps right now. And we're waiting to see as we see Adam Crane now on the backstretch, whether or not Philip Kraus can take that position from Adam. Philip now in third place with a 1:38.99. Hugo Olsson has put in his first lap, and that will take him to seventh place, a 1:39.48. And there Philip Kraus has managed to improve his position. We'll take a look at that with a 1:38.68, and he does in fact move into second place. But it's Adam Crane who, it appears, is your tentative pole sitter, as Hugo Olsson unfortunately has an off track. We're going to take a look at that real quick. And there he's just getting it. That's so easy to do in that corner. You just get it a little bit wide, and there's just no grip out there for those tires. And we also had Mark Usher having an off track earlier during qualifying. Let's see if we can... Oh, yes, this is the exit to the backstretch. And there he just, same thing, gets a little wide. He had another incident a little bit later. I think that's the same incident. It just was shown to us twice in the notes. So, Adam Crane, it does appear, will take over pole position for today's second race of this 5 races per week series. So there are 5 different time slots, and VirtualRacing.Network, we just made the decision just as we were getting to the start of the coverage for the season, or just as the season was getting started, that we were going to actually cover this series because it's got some great IndyCar talent in it. Adam Crane, Philip Kraus, Mark Usher, who's a regular top finisher in the Road Open series, Henry Bennett, who's top in the Road Series, I believe, right now, and in the Road Open Series, and then so let's go ahead and there's just a number of great racers, Hugo Olsson, etc. So let's go ahead and walk through the starting grid. And here we go, qualifying results. We have Adam Crane starting alongside Philip Kraus, to nobody's surprise. Two of the fastest drivers in IndyCars, and they find themselves right here. Philip Kraus, of course, defending Elite Series champion. And starting in the second row, we will have Timothy Bauman. Fourth will be Mark Usher. Third row starts with Henry Bennett, who was a race winner last week. He'll be starting alongside of João Valverde. Hugo Olsson, who took our first race broadcast, our inaugural race broadcast here on VirtualRacing.Network, he will be starting alongside of Pierre Verne. Then we bounce back to fifth row, and we have Andreas Eich starting next to Severi Seppa. Andreas had a great finish last week, and so he looks to continue and try and get some more points for the series. David Toth, our hard charger last week, made up lots of positions, double-digit positions en route to getting a third-place finish, is actually going to be starting next to Vilda Wallen, someone who is very familiar to those of us who have been watching the Road Open Series broadcast. Vilda frequently finding themselves up there in the front. Thomas Ziegler, it's a pleasure to have all of these different drivers joining us today. Matthias Kraus, who's actually has done quite well previously and in this series, and it's a pleasure to see him joining us as well. Then we have starting just behind him, Darren Parker and Stefan Petrat. And as we go a little bit further back, Axel Crichton and Benjamin Burmeister. And we'll take a look a little bit further back. And behind him, Stefan Walder and Eric Winter, Jan Hoffman, and Tobias Cantert will be 22nd with no time. And that is your starting grid for today's race. Last week, I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and see if we can get some graphics going here. So, apologize, I'm still a little new to getting all this stuff going, and I don't want to miss any broadcasting stuff as we get ready to go for an entire lap of pace coverage, and then we'll be getting started with the race. So let's go ahead and take a look at last week. I wasn't sure. I thought this was the second season of the IndyCar iRacing series, but in fact it's the third season. So I apologize, I don't have great graphics this week. I'll be getting better graphics next week together, but this week we'll just take a look at the outputs from iRacing itself. This was the 2019 final season standings, and you'll see some familiar names there. Henry Bennett, Andreas Eich, Mark Usher, John Downing, and Joe Branch down there, Eric Winter. So a number of drivers returning. Now we'll take a look at 2020, and it was none other than Adam Crane, Hugo Olsson, and Cesar Manzato, who was racing in this in the race last week that we covered. And he had a terrific finish, battling with Ray Kingsbury. And of course you see Andreas Eich there, Andrew Wood, Vilda Wallen, Eric Winter. So a number of drivers that are very familiar to us. Now, let's take a look at the 2021, this season. And so taking a look at the end of last week, of course, there's 5 races per week, 5 time slots these guys can race in, and it's an open series. So you could enter all 5 of them if you wanted to. It's strategic in which race you decide to get into. So this was the final haul for points last week. Hugo Olsson at the top with Adam Crane, and then David Toth, Henry Bennett, and Ray Kingsbury in your top 5. Now, there was another race this week, so we'll take a look. There's already been one race this week. So we'll see how the points are looking right now as they stand. Of course, some of these drivers they competed in that first race this week, but others have not yet. So this is where we stand at the moment, with Adam Crane and Vilda Wallen in second. Severi Seppa, Austin Espete, it's just great to see him up there, as well as Liam Quinn. So quite an interesting front group, and we get ready to go here for the start of today's race. We've got 42 laps planned. Take a look at some of the weather. We've got 42-degree track temperature, so in the 110 degree-ish range.
Green flag, green flag.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Green flag for Adam Crane as they are shuffling very quickly. Philip Kraus under immediate attack, and we have some battling as they shake out 4 or 5 wide further in, back in the pack. There are a couple of drivers off. We've got, I didn't see exactly who it was. It says Mark Usher did have an off track. Pierre Verne had an off track. And so Adam Crane continues in first, with Philip Kraus second, Timothy Bauman in third now. João Valverde picking up 2 positions on that start, moving up into 4th position. Mark Usher dropping from 4th to 5th. And David Toth has gone off track, dropping back now. We'll see what happened to David. This was on the start, and it looks like he might have gotten clipped from behind. And we also have news that Thomas Ziegler has had an off track. Can we get that coverage? I don't know if it's going to show this coverage. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to want to show it to us. Wonder if we can back it up here and see. Oh, I believe that was coverage, or that was a contact with David Toth. So we're going to go back up to the front here, live with Adam Crane still in first, Philip Kraus second, Timothy Bauman is in third here, João Valverde in fourth, and Mark Usher in 5th place. Rounding out your top 10. Oh, and we have an off track there. It looks like that was João Valverde who went off and rejoins. Did not force him to lose that position. And so no more positions exchanged there. So we go back a little bit further. We had Pierre Verne in 6th place, who's picked up 2 positions on the day. And here's Henry Bennett, who's dropped 2 positions. We did have Jan Hoffman crashing. It says we have an incident. Let's take a look at this. Jan going out a little wide, perhaps. Oh, and spinning and backing it into the tires. Did Jan get into the pits? It does appear Jan got into the pits there. So we go back up front, take a look at Adam Crane, who is out to a 1-second lead right now over Philip Kraus. 3rd, Timothy Bauman. 4th, João Valverde. 5th, Mark Usher. And so let's take a look at a couple of our high finishers from last week. This is Henry Bennett, who has lost 2 positions down to 7th place. He'll be looking to pick that up. Here's Hugo Olsson. He too struggling, now finding himself back in 9th place and having lost 2 positions on the day so far. Now we're having numerous notes here that, and by the way, Hugo just got around Vilda Wallen, but I'm seeing that it looks like David Toth has had a number of incidents. Oh, and that one we come in too late, but it appears as though he's got a broken right front. We don't quite know where that happened. He's gone off a couple of times since then. It's amazing the new damage model that iRacing has put in, and unfortunately for David Toth, even though he's kept his wheel, it's not worked out well for him to have those pieces flopping around on his car, as this is really seeming to ruin his race. And now Jan Hoffman has decided to jump back to the pits, so that will effectively take Jan out of this race. So right now, out of this race at the moment, we have Jan Hoffman, Thomas Ziger, and David Toth has now come into the pit. So from superhero to, unfortunately, looking like he's going to have his race done, David Toth having problems here in round 2 Sebring. As I take a look over in the chat room, I don't see anybody over there chatting it up. So if you're watching, say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. I appreciate it. And I know that there's other things going on right now, including some real-life IndyCar stuff. So I appreciate anybody who is tuning in. And in the meantime, we'll just keep taking a look at this great battle that's developing here, with Adam Crane, Philip Kraus, and Philip Bauman all within just a couple of seconds of each other. Still quite the battle here. We take a look at Pierre Verne, who's closing up on Mark Usher. There you see Usher right directly ahead. And everybody a little content to just run right where they're at the moment. Meanwhile, Timothy Bauman has since set the fastest lap of the race. Not that much quicker than our leader Adam Crane and Philip Kraus, just behind him. But Timothy there in third place just did a 1:39.97, the first driver to poke down into the 1:39s. Here we have... Let's see if we can... I don't think I got that quite right. So here we have the pass of Darren Parker getting around Stefan Petrat for 14th. Stefan not having the race here he would like. That is for certain. And we take a look here. Adam Crane out in front, no problem so far. We're on lap 5. With Philip Kraus behind in second, and just closing in on him as you see Philip with a little wiggle, exiting onto what you would maybe call the middle stretch of the track. There's a sort of a nice straightaway there to potentially make a move into that hairpin, but looks like Philip has regained himself, not really having too much difficulty struggling with the tires quite yet. And Philip has backed off a little bit, now finding himself 0.6 of a second behind. Meanwhile, just a little bit further back here, we have João Valverde, and then a little under a second behind him is Mark Usher. And of course, as I mentioned, behind him, Pierre Verne, just about 0.5 of a second, about a half second back. We move back to Henry Bennett, again down 2 positions on the day, looking to do something with where he's qualified and where he can potentially pick up some more points, but it's a long race to go. Here we take a look, Severi Seppa, who is hanging in there, this little bit of a train with Henry Bennett, Severi Seppa, and Hugo Olsson. And we have news that David Toth has rejoined the race, and that's important because he's one of our top points contenders right now. So he'll get back out there and try and scrape up some points. However, he is quite some laps down now. And here Hugo Olsson takes a look around the inside of Severi Seppa. but thinks better of it. In the meantime, this is turning out to be quite a train here with Pierre Verne. Are we seeing Pierre Verne? Yes, making the move on Mark Usher. This would be for 5th position here, and as I was just saying, this is quite a gaggle of cars that's starting to form. We've got Mark Usher, Pierre Verne, Henry Bennett, Sebring Seppa, Hugo Olsson, and Vilda Wallen even. So that's 5 cars right there, just within close distance of one another. Really, 6 cars battling. And here, Mark Usher pulling to the inside as Pierre Verne goes to the outside, forces the issue. Will we have contact? I don't see any contact so far. Pierre making himself known that he wants to get around. Pierre on the push to pass, pulls alongside and ahead on the outside, gets forced out a little bit, thinks better of it, and backs out. Pierre with 8 pushes left, and Mark Usher still has 10 full pushes of his push to pass remaining. Also seeing that Darren Parker has passed Benjamin Burmeister for 13th. And Stefan Petrat has also passed. So it looks like Benjamin Burmeister has had an off track. We'll just take a look at that really quick. And there you can see getting it just a little bit wrong, allowing some other cars to go around. And here we rejoin the battle up at the front with Adam Crane, but a little bit further back, here's Philip Kraus, just 2.59 seconds back. What a battle it's turning into, of some amazing proportions. You know, for me, I've seen a lot of these names around the IndyCar circles, in the Road Series, in Fixed Series, in the Elite, in Lionheart, and sometimes you see those different names cross over and end up in competition in a different place. In this series, the 2021 IndyCar iRacing series, is seeming to do that with some great road racing talent that has been in perhaps other series out there, and now they're finding a home here with IndyCars and making a strong challenge here. So it's great to see Timothy Bauman and see Mark Usher also getting to compete in this series. And it looks like we had, while we were talking, we now have Mark Usher and João Valverde and Pierre. Oh, and they make contact. This is the live picture, folks. That's João Valverde and Pierre Verne having a big incident there, taking each other out. And Mark Usher says, "Thank you very much. I am so happy that you have taken this away. Taken this away from my back porch." So let's go back and see if we can figure out what happened there. First, we have this pass that happened where it appears as though João Valverde got passed by Mark Usher, and then this is the fallout, is these two drivers racing side by side here, not really giving a lot of room, and it just appears as though João comes over on Pierre there, and that's unfortunately going to be it in terms of those two racing for the front. We'll take a look at where they end up, and of course João is going to have to take a pit stop. And in the meantime, we have another pass that's happened here. We've got Hugo Olsson getting around Sebring Seppa for 6th place. And so some pretty amazing turn of events here. As I said before, none other than Mark Usher is very happy to have that pressure reduced from behind. And now we've got we've got Pierre Verne and João Valverde falling to the back of the field. Unfortunately, it looks like both of them have had a couple of off tracks. And here is Pierre entering the pits and receiving damage. So we go back to the live pictures. You saw João there also entering the pits. And we take a look back up front. Let's just go ahead and walk through the field as we get to lap 9. We've got Adam Crane. No surprise. He's been dominant really in this series. Had a couple of small mistakes that cost him the win last week in our first broadcast coverage. And now that he has a chance to keep it clean and keep it on track, he has done so far with 0 off tracks, 0 incidents. So Adam Crane really making a defense of his points position and trying to gain a little bit more as he goes along. Obviously, if you get a win, it's going to be pretty tough for anybody to pass you. So taking a look through the field, I'm seeing that Pierre Verne again having some sort of an issue. Perhaps the car not completely fixed. And unfortunately coming back on track, just sadly making things that were already bad worse. So we have Adam Crane. And a little ways back, where now Adam Crane has built this gap up to 4 seconds. Let's see if we can put the battle box out there and show a little bit better what we're talking about here. And so Philip Kraus, now, like I said, finding himself 4 seconds back from Adam Crane. Timothy Bauman, as you see, sits right behind Philip, ready to take advantage of any sort of mistake from our leader or from second place. Mark Usher now finds himself back in 4th after an lap 1 incident going off track and losing a couple of positions. Now finds himself, as I said. And just as I say this, we've got some new incidents. Eric Winter apparently having an issue here, getting it loose. And does he regather it? How does he do this? Does he sneak into the pits? Oh, he just gathers it back up. We have João Valverde has gone off again and had a... Yeah, so there was your off track, but João, for as you can see there on the side pod, racing for Team Talent, appears as though he's come back into the pits, so he must not have been happy with his automobile. So we continue our look back through the field here, and we get to Henry Bennett, who's running in 5th position under fire from Hugo Olsson. And again, those two running very close in our last week battle, with Hugo Olsson prevailing in the same time slot was the coverage that we did last week. So this is officially race 2 of 5. You are watching the 2021 IndyCar iRacing series, and this is round 2, race 2, from the virtual Sebring International Raceway in Sebring, Florida. So we're kind of settling in, as you can tell. Sometimes these races are hot and heavy and lots of action, and then sometimes it's everyone just sort of settles into a groove, finds the place, the people that they want to run behind. And it's kind of the case here, where if people aren't making off tracks or being aggressive and smashing into each other, they settle into a nice long stint and find their current pace. In the meantime, that long stint pace is really important. So that's kind of what we're paying attention to, is whose tires are going off and whose are not. So we look at this battle here between Philip Kraus and Timothy Bauman. I mean, this is just nose to tail for second place. Timothy not giving Philip any room whatsoever to do any work. And to be fair, the pace has dropped off for Philip. His last lap of 41.24. And that is to Timothy's 40.98. Adam Crane doing a 140.69. So Philip kind of appears to be the person left out there. And it appears as though he's slowing up Timothy Bauman. So I really expect Timothy might make a move here at any point. In the meantime, I see that Stefan Walder and Benjamin Burmeister back for 14th have had quite a battle. Those two are nose to tail here, battling it out for 14th. Those of you who are iRacers, or real life racers really, you know exactly what this is all about. It's competition is fierce and heavy. It doesn't matter what position you're in. There's always somebody to pass in front of you, and there's always somebody to defend from behind. So it looks like these two enjoying quite a good scrap there. So we'll walk just a little ways up the road and see Tobias Cantert, who's up 9 positions today. Good for him, getting in some of his first racing here in the IndyCar iRacing series, currently running in 13th place. And it appears, the commentator's curse, right? It's inevitable. It's inevitable. Shine the light on somebody, and that's what happens. I'm so sorry, Tobias. It's just part of doing the coverage here. So both Stefan and Burmeister get ahead, and we're seeing Hugo Olsson dropping back. He's had an off track, and he's dropped. This is last week's winner, folks, from this time slot. Racing for Power Slide. Hugo Olsson, our points leader, now shown in 9th place. Question mark as to whether he has damage. Let's take a look at what happened there. He just gets out wide. He's following very closely behind Mark Usher. I think he was trying to set up a pass or something and just got out a little bit wide there. So as we go back to where we were before, and we take a look at Stefan Petrat, is kind of running in his own group at this moment. He's about 6/10 back, little under 7/10 back from Darren Parker, who's in front, and then Benjamin Burmeister is almost 10 seconds behind. So we move forward to Darren Parker, who's in 11th place. He's gained 4 positions on the day, doing quite well. I'm sure he'd love to get a top 10. I'm sure, Stefan is always a really good racer also, and so I'm sure he too would like to get up to the top. Seeing that we had a battle, we had a pass there for Hugo Olsson. Looks like he got around Matthias Kraus, and Matthias Kraus defends the position and reclaims it. So we go back to this continuing battle here. We'll take a look. This is still in the replay. Hugo Olsson having quite a scrap now with Matthias Kraus. Really looking for a way by, and so far has not found a way by. We look at the live picture of Hugo Olsson now trying again to chase down Matthias Kraus here on the backstretch. Matthias moves inside. A little bit of a move there from Matthias in response, and Hugo gets chopped off on exit. There, Matthias moves into the pits. That's why he chopped off. And so we've got everybody in the pits, in fact, Sorry, I missed that. Adam Crane, Philip Kraus, Timothy Bauman, everybody in the pits. Adam gets out okay. Hugo Olsson takes over the lead. He missed, either took an earlier pit stop or missed it based off of that action that he was in. Philip Kraus rejoins again in second place. In second place virtually. First place on the track is Hugo Olsson, of course, who had an earlier moment. And just trying to watch the timing and scoring here to see who is going to shake out, where Timothy Bauman resumes this battle right behind as Philip Kraus gives him a moment's opportunity. He might be able to make a move here. Bauman taking a look. I'm not seeing him he is not on the push to pass. That would be a spot you could gain a little bit with push to pass if you were trying to make a move into that corner, but it looks like Kraus doing a very good job of keeping Bauman at bay. Gives him no room. Kraus gets it wrong and slides sideways, causing contact. Oh, the team talent driver, Philip Kraus, unfortunately ruins the day for both he and, oh, it's just so sad to see Timothy Bauman, who was having such a great race with us, and looks like his left front is done. And just as I say that, Hugo Olsson has now entered the pits from the lead, giving the lead over to Adam Crane. But this was the moment ago with Philip Kraus just getting out and wide, and we saw that in, I believe it was qualifying, someone spinning out there. That is just too bad. Here we see that Timothy Bauman has had an off track, unable to keep the car on the track with that damage. Well, that is just too bad. So we take a look at the live picture with Adam Crane here, not having any trouble, not having any off tracks at all. He has now, something has happened that has allowed him to gain an 11-second advantage now over Mark Usher. Of course, we've been looking at a lot of different stuff happening around the track at the moment, but it's possible that Mark Usher has had an issue, and in the meantime, Henry Bennett shown now 2.5 seconds back from Mark Usher. Sebring Seppa running fourth on the track, having gained 6 positions on the day. Again, that is someone to watch out for any week. Sebring Seppa now in 4th place. Vilda Wallen, after the pit stops, now finding themselves in 5th place. 7 positions gained on the day. Now, let's take a look at the pit strategy. And we'll have to get rid of our other graphic first. So here you can see that of our top 8, everybody has pitted. Hugo Olsson just pitted, so he managed to go an extra lap there. Vern actually pitted much earlier from that accident where he had an issue. Here is a big battle that's happening on your track right now, on your screen right now. Now, this is the battle for, you see Vilda Wallen just going through the picture, and then the green car of Matthias Kraus with Pierre Vern in the red and white, and then Hugo Olsson resuming from what was the race lead, now finding himself in 8th position, down 1 spot on the day. So remember, Olsson is looking to take the position, and there he goes. Hugo Olsson down the inside, tries to take the position, and successfully does pass Pierre Vern. Hugo Olsson back to 7th, which is where he started. And it looks as though Philip Kraus, now that he has exited the pits, or actually, is he still in the pits? Philip Kraus, yes, still in the pits. So David Toth shown as passing him, but that's just because Philip Kraus is now out. So currently our cars that are out of this race, as we see Hugo Olsson on the screen chasing down Matthias Kraus for 6th position. Cars that are now out appear to be Timothy Baumann, of course, just involved in that accident with Philip Kraus. David Toth has since rejoined the race and is now making up position slowly. He's in 7th as we see Hugo Olsson on screen make his move around Matthias Kraus for 6th position. So move Hugo up another position on the day. That gives him 1 gained position on the day. So we'll tuck away this pit stop strategy report here, and we'll take a look at it again in a little bit. And here we can see the battle for 5th position as Hugo Olsson begins to reel in Vilde Wallen there for 5th. So while we have a moment, we'll take a look again. We have Adam Crane, Mark Usher, Henry Bennett, Severi Seppa, and Vilde Wallen. Now we're taking a look at Hugo Olsson. Then in 7th position, we have Matthias Kraus, who is actually up 7 positions on today's race. So just because he lost that position to Hugo, doesn't really matter too much in the grand scheme of things. He's having quite a good increase of iRating and position since his qualifying. Pierre Verne is running in 8th, which is right where he qualified. Andreas Eick now in 4th. I'm sorry, now running in 9th, up no positions on the day. Darren Parker here in 10th position, up 5 positions on the day. That all black IndyCar. It's hard to tell where the wings start and where the side pods are and where everything is with that all black paint job. Andreas Eick, we have Pierre Verne coming in. Of course, he's coming into the pits now to receive service. Of course, he had that early stop, so he is technically on his own cycle, and we'll have to see how that works out for the long run of this race. So moving back here to 12th, soon to be 11th, is Benjamin Burmeister, who has gained 7 positions on the day. He's looking great. Here, we just had a moment ago, we just had the opportunity from Hugo Olsson taking a look inside Vilde Wallen, gets it wrong, was not able to complete the pass, slid a little bit long. That was into the hairpin there. And so he resumes. We'll continue to try to watch that as Hugo finds himself 0.8 of a second back. And of course, Matthias Kraus still right there. Hugo racing for Powerslide Motorsports, one of the top premier elite teams here in the iRacing service. And unfortunately, the way that our driver information works, it does not populate, and in the grid results, etc., does not seem to populate correctly with the team names. This is all stuff that we'll try to fix over the long run with our graphics package as we can continue to improve and invest more time and money and resources into this stuff. So if you guys appreciate it, I appreciate you giving a thumbs up or a subscription. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for VirtualRacing.Network. I again am Trevor Greenfield, your host, and you are watching live coverage of the 2021 IndyCar iRacing Series Round 2 as Hugo Olsson once again makes his move, this time into the hairpin, and this time no problem whatsoever. Little bit of tire lockup, but back underway, no problem. Hugo moves up into 5th, 2 positions gained on the day. And we, just as I say that, we're taking a look back, and we have unfortunate news for Pierre Verne fans out there. It appears as though Pierre, fresh out of the pits, had a problem. This is setting up for the backstretch, and there he spins it back around, gets going again. So Pierre's going to lose a bit of time there. Meanwhile, Hugo up into 5th, 2 positions gained on the day. He's going to set his sights for Sebring Sepa, who is 7.2 seconds up the track. So we take a look back and we see Vilda Wallen here having quite a good day. 6 positions gained. So good for Vilda. And then here Matthias Kraus, as I mentioned earlier, 7 positions gained. Andreas Eich with just 1 position gained on the day in 8th place. And as you see there, age 17, racing for Team Talent. So a lot of good representation from Team Talent in today's race. Unfortunately for Andreas, I really feel like Andreas would like to be a little bit further up the order there. And so a ways back from Andreas, we have Darren Parker from the UK and Ireland. And here, Stefan Petrat, who has been pretty much hanging out with Darren Parker. Both of those 2 drivers up 6 positions on the day. Looks like Stefan may potentially have something waiting here for Darren, but we'll have to see. That would be, they're already both getting a top 10 position. And that position starts to get into where you might be looking at your potential iRating increase, and here you can see this is why this is very important. As you see in this graphic down in the bottom right hand corner, battle for 9th place. Now for Darren, who has 3,000 iRating, he's going to get a 49 point increase, and that's a pretty substantial haul for a 9th place finish. But Stefan, who has a 5,000 iRating, is going to lose 6 points. So to overtake Darren would potentially take him back into the positive iRating territory. So you don't want to get too crazy and make too aggressive of a move, but at some point you've got to start looking for that. So here I was just going to switch over to Axel Kreischen. And there is Axel getting around Benjamin Burmeister. That was 4th position for 11th place. So again, Axel and Benjamin, as we move back and go to the live picture with Benjamin Burmeister here, both he and Axel and Stefan Walder behind, all 3 of them. And if you start with Darren, then Stefan, Axel, Benjamin, and Stefan, all of them up 6 positions on the day, which is pretty interesting. And of course, here's Tobias Cantor, having a problem earlier but recovering, up 8 positions on the day. So he and Garage 69 having a great run of it today. Pierre Verne, of course, was running in the top 10, is on a different pit strategy, but also had an incident there not very long ago, spinning the car and needing to get going again, having lost some time. So we'll have to see how this works out in the long run. In the meantime, we get to Eric Winter with a beautiful all-chrome paint job there. And Eric showing 4 positions gained on the day. Eric just trying to get something out of this race right now, I think. Yeah, Eric has had quite an up and down day. It looks like he might still lose. He has a 3,000 iRating. He might still lose 15 iRating on today's race. But it's kind of about the points and just making sure that you get as many points as you can. Now here's Timothy Baumann, our first lap down car. Of course, he had a big incident early on with Philip Kraus. Now David Toth is shown just behind Timothy Baumann. And I'm not sure. I believe they're on the same... Yes, they are on the same lap. So that is for 17th and 18th position. Now, our first car out of the race is Philip Kraus, And behind him, João Valverde, Jan Hoffman, and Thomas Ziegler. So, back up to the front, and it seems a bit redundant, but here's Adam Crane with 19 laps to go, just putting in the laps. Let's take a look on board and ride around for a little bit with Mr. Crane. Just soak up some of that beautiful Dallara IR18 noise. And unfortunately, just as I say that, we take a look back to Hugo Olsson, who has had an issue in front of Vilda Wall and getting off track a little bit there. And did Vilda manage to pass? No. I don't believe so. Still shown in front, Hugo Olsson, yes. So Hugo having a moment there, getting off track. And we go back to Hugo in that battle. With Vilda and Matthias Kraus, all three kind of hanging tight there. I'm sure Vilda would love to overtake and get that position back. And here we have, as you see, Hugo Olsson, same place, having an issue again, and that does allow Vilda Wallin to overtake Hugo Olsson. So perhaps the tires on the power slide machine starting to go away here as we get deep into this second stint. Hugo looks to size up Vilda once again for an overtake. Cannot do it into turn one. So we take a look again at the pit stop strategy. We're 10 laps in for the majority of these cars, but not for Olsson, who managed to go an extra lap. He'll be able to most likely take over the lead again and see whether he can gain a couple of positions on the exchange. Vilda getting a little bit of lockup there, again into the hairpin. And I'm getting some notes here that says Pierre Verne has now passed Stefan Walder for 13th. So Pierre starting to claw back from his earlier incident and his off strategy that he has. As it looks like Hugo might be dropping back just a tiny bit now from Vilda. Meanwhile, Adam Crane, a 15-second advantage over Mark Usher and 18 total seconds over Henry Bennett, 23 to Severi Seppa, and 29 to the battle that we were just watching with Vilda Wallin and Hugo Olsson in it. And right now, that's probably the closest battle on this track, is the Vilda Wallin, Hugo Olsson, and Matthias Kraus sandwich that we have happening here. Obviously, Hugo with better pace. For example, that last lap of 140, 175. But Vilda actually a 140, 1.69. So seems like Vilda's finding it some laps and Hugo finding it other laps. But Hugo having a little bit more trouble with the tires than Vilda. Meanwhile, we'll let that play out a little bit more. And Andreas Eick finding himself just comfortably running in 8th position. Got a 9.8 second gap to the cars in front, and about a 5-second gap to Darren Parker behind. So it's kind of safely in that bubble. Here's a look at Pierre Verne making his way past Burmeister, Benjamin Burmeister, for 12th again. Pierre on a little bit newer of tires, making it a bit easier to get the job done. So we go back to Vilda Wallen, who still has Hugo Olsson in close tow, just 0.3 of a second back. And I'm leaving that pit stop strategy out there. You can see within 2 laps, we should be seeing Adam Crane back in, we expect. And there we have Stefan Walder has crashed. Let's take a look at that. And Tobias Cantert had just passed Stefan there. And, oh boy, took it quite a ways up. Boy, that is a shiny paint job. That is a beauty. Looking at those spec maps sparkling back out at you. So, looks like this race here, as we go back to the live picture with Darren Parker and Stefan Patrat, Patrat is still just under a second back from Andreas, and so it's anybody's guess as to whether Stefan has what it's going to take to get in to the ninth position, or to the eighth, excuse me, to the ninth position, right? But either way, basically from second place all the way back to 11th place, all those drivers have gained on where they started the day. And if we look at our hard charger right now, it would be Vilda Wallen having gained 7 positions. And then tied with Vilda would be Matthias Kraus with 7 positions gained on the day. Darren Parker, Stefan Patrat, Axel Kreischen coming in with 6 positions gained on the day. And I misspoke earlier, Tobias Cantert with 8 positions gained on the day, of course, just finding themselves in 14th, which is probably not as much of an accomplishment as gaining 6 positions and finding yourself in 4th. Nevertheless, for all of those drivers, you just always have to be happy when you gain positions based off of where you qualify. You may feel like, hey, I know I had more pace, I put it off, or I just didn't get the time down right, or didn't get the power down right in a particular corner, left something on the table. Whatever the case is, you may feel like your race pace is great, but is it? It's always the question mark. And if it is, I should be able to make up quite a few positions today, and I don't really care about how I qualified. So here we're looking to see, as Adam Crane starts his 14th lap, I was looking to see if maybe he might try the undercut there. Instead, he doesn't really have anything to prove. He's 15 seconds ahead right now of Mark Usher, who does go in to the pits. And following quickly behind him, Henry Bennett also into the pit. So this won't shake things up too much, but we are looking at lap times of 1:41 for many of these drivers. So Severi Seppa also into the pits, Vilda Wallen in the pits, Matthias Kraus also into the pits there. The blue car with Mark Usher, green car of Henry Bennett, and there we see most cars actually coming in here on this lap. And Hugo Olsson now moves into second place on the track. He's yet to make his final stop, and we expect him a lap later than even Adam Crane. So we can actually see if we take a look at the pit stop times, see a little bit of how that breaks down, and then total pit lane time, since Crane and Olsson have not yet, and there Adam Crane is into the pits, and we will have to see who is the fastest on pit road today. Hugo Olsson now following into the pits as well. So we rejoin Adam Crane at the front as you see Hugo Olsson just entering the pits for his final stop on the day, and Adam Crane with a 40.5 second stop. That's almost identical to what he ran before. And Mark Usher now reclaims second place. We'll have to see where Hugo Olsson will come back out. We're going to watch that battle because that's pretty important. Axel Kreschen, in the meantime, has pitted and will now drop back in the order. There's Hugo slotting back into 5th position right where he came in. So we take a look at the on-pit road times. It looks like our winner, Henry Bennett, with a So as we take a look up front here at Adam Crane, basically everybody has made the pit stop that they need to. And so why not? Why don't we just take a ride around with Adam? See if we can, as we get here onto start finish straight, I'll just let it play out. Let's take a ride. Let's ride a lap with Adam Crane around Sebring International Raceway. So quite exhilarating there, and Hugo Olsson in the meantime hanging tight in his battle with Matthias Kraus and Vilda Wallen, which is now expanded out. But up here in the front, Adam Crane just setting, as you saw it live there, the race fastest lap, a 139.19. And so you saw the push to pass button being used heavily to set that time. That's one of the things that a lot of these guys will do. They'll just hold on to that 10 pushes of push to pass that you get, and then they'll just see if they need to use it, and if they do, then they'll use it in a battle. Otherwise, they'll save it for when they have the tires up to temp, and then they'll try to put in their best lap of the race. So that's what we had there from Adam Crane, who's now down to 2 pushes to pass. And we take a look back at Mark Usher. He's had quite an interesting day. He did have an incident early on, but now finds himself back in second position. No problems since that incident, gathering himself back up and gaining 2 positions since his starting position. So then we take a look as Mark Usher is on the button. He's on push to pass at the moment, so it's possible that he may be himself trying to set his fastest lap. As Adam Crane starts with just 9 laps to go. And there, Mark does not improve his fastest lap time. His fastest lap being a 140.31. And his last lap time at 140.46. And just to give you an idea of the difference in speed, a lot of these drivers might be able to hit a low 140 in their race setup on good tires, but Adam Crane, of course, we saw his best lap time of 139.19. The very next lap, he does a 140.80. So quite a fall off, well over a second and a half from one lap to the other with all of the push to pass that was used. So in the meantime, there's been no reported incidents. We have Henry Bennett here running in 3rd place, just 25 seconds back from Adam Crane, but only 5.8 seconds back from Mark Usher. He's up 2 positions on the day. Again, this is all about points and keeping close to Adam Crane, making sure to minimize any loss there. A little bit further back, Severi Seppa, and Severi's got Hugo Olsson just under 2 seconds back. So that's a battle that could heat up at some point. Hugo having made up a lot of ground, really, on Severi. I think the last time that we had talked about that was before the pit stops, and it looked like it was about 7+ seconds at that point, the gap. Now it's down to just 2 seconds, and Hugo is the sort of racer that when he gets close to his goal, he will not hold back. Hey, thank you so much, Thomas Christensen, coming over and giving me a little bit of chat in the chat room. I appreciate it. Appreciate the thumbs up, bud. Hope you're enjoying today's broadcast. Hey. So, yeah, I hope you're enjoying today's broadcast. And for any of you who are watching this now or later after it's been broadcast, I do appreciate you joining in. My name is Trevor Greenfield, and you are watching the 2021 IndyCar iRacing Series Round 2 here at Sebring. My pleasure to bring it to you on the VirtualRacing.Network. This is our inaugural coverage of the series and our initial coverage of any racing of sorts. I just started this just before the last week. I just started this because I knew this series was coming up and there was no broadcasting that was slated for it. And as you can see, these drivers are just are excellent racers that have made a name for themselves all around iRacing in many different series, and it's just a real pleasure to have them join me and us, and we get to watch them work their magic here in this other series that goes on. This series spans multiple seasons. It will continue all the way through, I believe, September. I'll have that graphic up for you next time of our full schedule, but it spans multiple seasons, and it's a very different format than what we have seen typically with the Road Open series, which you can catch on RaceSpot. The high strength of field races broadcast Monday nights. And then you have the fixed oval series for IndyCar, for iRacing, and that series does not, I believe, have a top split broadcast. However, that series also operates under the seasons, and here goes Hugo Olsson. No, takes a look at it, but doesn't make his move. Was thinking about it. Following very closely to Severi Seppa there, just waiting for Severi to get it a little wrong, put it off a little bit, and give him an opportunity. Hugo now having moved 8.5 seconds clear of Matthias Kraus, and Vilda Wallen finding themselves behind Matthias. So Vilda not quite as high up as they were, but here's Hugo making a move down the inside. And it's clear. Excellent pass on the backstretch for Hugo. They move up to 4th position with 3 spots gained on the day. So Hugo looking to again take back a little bit of the positions that were lost from earlier incidents and regain some points and keep that points battle with Adam Crane and Mark Usher, Henry Bennett very close. And that's exactly what the running order is here as we're here just 6 laps to go. Adam Crane is out to over a 20-second lead over Mark Usher now. So Adam just absolutely able to do whatever he'd like with the car. It's been consistent. It's been on rails. When you watch the car, it seems like it doesn't move. It doesn't kick out. You could see how close he can take it on the exit there to the grass, and it seems quite under control on exit. Here you watch through turn 1, he's able to take a very conservative line, doesn't even have to come inside of the yellow line. And all of this is just right on the money as far as where you want to be for the racing line. And you would expect that, but you're not watching a guy who's making a lot of inputs. As you see with the steering wheel there, very smooth. There's very little movement going into the steering wheel. Just one long turn. Small turn there for the kink. There's no rapid adjustments left and right. Adam Crane is just in his own zone. The car is playing nicely, and he's continuing to set laps that are right there at the top end of the field. Now, in the meantime, Hugo Olsson has burned up some more push to pass, it looks like, having dropped in a 140.30. So while Adam Crane only has 5 laps remaining, if Hugo Olsson can continue this pace, there is a chance he could retake that 4 seconds up to Henry Bennett and be looking at 3rd place. So we'll have to see if that's the case. In the meantime, we are seeing that David Toth, our star of last week's race at Barber, has had yet another moment here, just getting it wrong with all those bumps. Tried to clip maybe a little too close to the inside on that last corner, and finding himself having some more time lost on the day. Toth back in 17th, probably regroup and try another race this week and see if he can get some of those points back. So this battle here is not much of a battle. Mark Usher, it's actually a lapped car shown just behind. But Mark Usher having a good day, up 2 positions. Mark, frequently one of the fastest IndyCar drivers, frequently setting record pace laps. Of course, the world records for these tracks were set several years ago in most cases, where the car was configured differently, and iRacing does not separate the different build models. So this car that you see that has an aero screen and does not have a large aero kit, it has undergone so much transformation since 2019 season that it's not even close to the same car that it was then. That car then had much more topside downforce and no aero screen to mess up drafting on ovals. And so this car now has a lot more underside downforce proportionally, however lacks a lot of the topside downforce that car once did. So generally speaking, there's not much sense comparing lap times that these cars are doing to the official world record times, that many of which were, as I said, set back in 2019 and in some cases 2018, which is when the IR18 debuted. But when we compare times, we take a look at 2021, because in 2021 at the start, we got a brand new damage model as well as a brand new tire model for this car. And so as you see the red sidewall Firestones there, as we look at our third place runner Henry Bennett, who is starting to feel a little bit of pressure now with 3 laps to go, just under 3 seconds back to Hugo Olsson. You see him in the picture there, the yellow car. We'll jump back to him and we'll see if he can indeed catch Henry Bennett. So doesn't appear as though this wants to play nicely, but you can see there in the middle of that graphic, Hugo Olsson now just under 3 seconds to Henry Bennett. But just to finish what I was saying, and we take a look a little bit further back, as Axel Christian has gotten around Stefan Petrat for 10th position. And so Stefan finding themselves back now in 11th. And so now we take a look back up at the front with Adam Crane. Absolutely no issues whatsoever. He's got just 2 laps to go. As he rolls down the backstretch, we should be seeing him taking the white flag this time. And just to finish what I was talking about, the red sidewall Firestones there, of course, emulating the real-life alternate tires. These were introduced as Adam Crane takes the white flag. These were introduced at the start of this season. Previously, there was just one tire for the series. And in the meantime, we also now have in this series, we have alternate tires, which are these, and then they have more grip, of course, and a shorter lifespan than the primary tires, which are the black sidewall tires. And it looks like we've had David Toth has had an accident. I'm try to see if I can catch that. Here he was following closely to Sebring Seppa, and then what's happened here? Just pulled off. Just said that was it for the day, I guess. I've had enough. So, in the meantime, Adam Crane finishing final lap here at Sebring. And so just finishing the story of the tires, really, the tires are brand new this year. The grip levels are brand new. And as it stands right now, the only tire that really matters is these red alternate tires. It's the fastest tire. It seems to hold up okay over the long stints. The hotter it gets, though, the worse it does. But even still, the black primary tire, not a match for this car. But either way, Adam Crane just really had no problems today. No incidents whatsoever. And he'll take the checkered flag. He'll love seeing it. This will boost Adam Crane's chances at the championship in 2021. Victorious here at Sebring, and taking the checkered flag in fine fashion. As we go back and take a look at some of the other runners in the field, here's Mark Usher coming in second, having gained 2 positions on the day. No match for the pole to victorious Adam Crane, but brings it home 22 seconds back, and Henry Bennett finishes there in your picture in third. Here's Hugo Olsson coming home in fourth. All of these drivers gaining several positions on the day. Sebring Seppa, having picked up 5 positions today, will bring it home in fifth. Matthias Kraus just behind, pulling over immediately, having gained 8 positions today, coming in sixth. Seventh, Vilde Wallen with 5 positions gained. Andreas Eich, our youngster who shows that he can run in the top 10 any week, they're in 8th position, having gained a position on the day. Darren Parker comes home in 9th place, up 6 position. Axel Christian having a little incident a moment ago, but gaining 7 positions on the day, up to 10th. That's your top 10 there. Stefan Petrat, Benjamin Burmeister, and Tobias Cantert were some of the last cars on the lead lap. And so we're going to take a look here as soon as our final runners end. We've got Henry Bennett still shown on track, creeping around there, pulling over, and Benjamin Burmeister bringing it home. And very shortly we'll be able to bring you, here we go. So we'll take a look at the final results, preferably from the front. And there you go. Adam Crane. Now, where you see the team names there, that's not properly defined. We'll work on getting that better. But where it says privateer, that's not necessarily true. Many of those teams are not listed here. So Adam Crane, of course, your winner. No problems whatsoever. Mark Usher coming home in second. Henry Bennett, Hugo Olsson, Sebring Seppa, Matthias Kraus, Vilde Wallen, Andreas Eich, Darren Parker, Axel Christian, Stefan Petrat in 11th, and Benjamin Burmeister, Tobias Cantert, Eric Winter, Stefan Walder, Timothy Bauman had a terrible incident early on. It was really a shame. But it was really Adam Crane's day today, and he made a great he just made a great use of the entire day. He didn't do anything wrong all day. And quite a excellent day for him. He, as I said, he did nothing wrong all day today. He held tough when it needed to be. He didn't put a wheel wrong at any point. He never faced a challenge from behind. I suppose one of the biggest important points of the day was Mark Usher having an incident on turn 1, on lap 1, and having an incident, and that put him back. Hugo Olsson having an incident, that put him back. Henry Bennett did not really have the pace to keep up with Adam Crane today. Severi Seppa in 5th place had a huge amount of positions gained, didn't necessarily have the pace as well, but kept it pretty clean and hung on to get 5th. Matheus Kraus, great to have him back participating with us. And so we will not have the live points. I'll try to update that when we do our next broadcast. And so please watch for our channel here on YouTube for VirtualRacing.Network. And please watch our channel for upcoming live streams. We will be broadcasting the Sunday 6 p.m. race, so please make sure to stay tuned for that. And again, if you subscribe, you will get notified of that on YouTube. In the meantime, my name is Trevor Greenfield, and it has been an absolute pleasure to have you with us as we look at the final order here from our second race of this week at Sebring International Raceway. It is Adam Crane, absolutely victorious, no problems at all, and he will, in fact, take home today's race and the maximum amount of points. So, once again, thank you so much for joining us here on VirtualRacing.Network. In the near future, we'll very much look forward to bringing you more action and possibly some interviews as we can arrange. So, my pleasure. Trevor Greenfield, once again, I'll look forward to seeing you next time here on VirtualRacing.Network.